Alright, so I want to take the first couple of minutes of this video to just plug Pieces of Prestige at the moment. You might know Pieces of Prestige, he also makes Rollercoaster Tycoon 3 videos, it's really awesome, go check him out. But what's even better is that he made this bridge, which you might see over here. Well, if you don't see it, you must be blind or something, no offense, but it's gonna be hard to see it. In any case, that bridge was actually built by Pieces of Prestige. I didn't record the process of me building it, since it was just a tiny bit of a test. I was just streaming at the time when I was building this entire section of the park, as I usually am, and during the stream actually he gave me this bridge, so I decided to close down Rollercoaster Tycoon 3, get it up again, and see how the bridge would work. And as you can tell, it looks absolutely amazing, and the download is up, so I'm going to need to put that in the description of this video. Now, knowing me, I'm probably going to forget that, so if I do, please remind me that I need to put the link in the description. But yeah, that's sort of why I didn't film the creation of that bridge, but in the end it did really matter. That getting that bridge in there, a really good fitting Dutch bridge, which it turned out to really be, was just a big help to the entire thing. Also, one good reason why I didn't want it to be filmed was that I completely failed building the bridge. Like, as a couple, that bridge, it may be one bridge, but it's made out of different separate sections, and I completely derped on trying to place those right. So that was a bit awkward. Didn't entirely want to get in that in the video. In any case, here is more detail work. I know this is starting to get boring, but I have something to really say about this park. So far, I have just been doing the basic things, getting the basic buildings in there, just doing all sorts of things that I really like, hop from one thing to the other, finish some nice little attractions and all such things. But like the in-between little touches to the park, so far I've sort of left alone. So the next couple of episodes are going to be finishing up details, going through news sets, just exploring things, see what sorts of items I need to get in there, adding some extra details to buildings. Like this building, for example, I was alright with the overall shape and how it was over there, but it was really lacking a tiny bit of detail to make it not just stand out from the main street itself, but also stand out from other buildings that use the same sets, because I don't really like to have buildings in which you can clearly just realize the pieces that have been used in it, and that nothing really creative has been done with them. So especially with this sort of thing, there are many custom scenery sets out there with those little wooden stuff, little wooden cornices and whatever you can really place anywhere. And same goes for arches, by the way. Arches are an amazing thing which you can just stack really like many custom scenery sets and get some really unique archworks in there. So that was also something that I wanted to do over here. And that's basically also why these episodes aren't going to be the most spectacular sort of thing, since the quote-unquote spectacular stuff has already been done. The train station was a lot of fun to make, and I'm really happy about how it turned out. Just overall the log flume area, same goes for that, but I've really just left some very small things that I wasn't quite feeling like doing, because honestly they're not that interesting. I've sort of just left those to pretty much die, and I just need to get to it right here. That's basically that. So I told my story, albeit way too quickly. I think I was talking like way too fast over there. It doesn't really matter. It's just random little details, not even much to it really. Just, like I said, skimming through sets and finding out whatever could really work. And this also did result in some time lapses, which just turned into, you know, me scrolling through sets, seeing if there's anything good anywhere, just trying pieces out and see if it really works somewhere. And yeah, I normally wouldn't really like to do that, but the entire premise of this entire series is just that I build a park and film the entire just making of that park. So yeah, the less fun parts are also part of the making of this park, so that's why I decided to keep them in. So that's what these episodes are going to be like. That being said, in the future, like after I finish all this stuff, this is not the only things. I don't want to just add little details to buildings. I still need to do a tiny bit of path work here and there, finish up the river area, and just get some... I want also to get a trolley track around this little main street. Not entirely sure how that's going to happen, because I have the trolley track, but I'm not entirely sure on the station and things like that. I still need to research that for a tiny bit. But once I get all of those things done, I should be able to move into the English area, confident that I can actually do some good stuff in there. I have actually already researched a tiny bit of the architecture and got some ideas of what I want to do there. And I actually think that I do want to do a B&M stand-up. I know that it's a really uncommon idea, especially since no well, B&M slash Intermin stand-up hasn't really ever been themed in any sort of way, and that's actually sort of why I want to try it. I want to see if I can actually make that work. I want to just get a tiny bit of a unique sort of attraction in there. I know that sounds incredibly hipster, but there is just, I know this also sounds really stupid, but I just felt like an English coaster would be an Intamin stand-up, and this is entirely just ripped from Drayton Manor, but I just feel like that would be the sort of thing that would work there. And I don't know if I want to place a mine train over there, since I feel like the Alpine area would be a better area for the mine train. I feel like the East Asian area would be the best place to have a B&M invert, and reasons like that is basically why I just sort of left the Intamin stand-up to be built in the English area. It's not one of the best roller coasters out there, but I wanted to preserve the best roller coasters for other themes. Not to mention the English area should hopefully still get a dark ride of sorts. So in the end, it should be an alright area, and it's definitely not gonna just be really tiny in comparison to the Mediterranean area. That should all be right, and I'm not too worried about that really. So, and there's that plan, and then there's the fact that the episode 100 is going to be coming up, and I'm not entirely sure what I want to do with that. If I do plan it right, I might get episode 100 up just in the weekend, just before I go to university, so I'll still have some time to do things. So that means that I'm gonna have to be releasing the other videos in this sort of very short timescale, which should actually be alright. And then if I do that stream, it's gonna be a tiny bit of a special stream, since I always stream on Twitch, it's just a better service. But a tiny bit of a Let's Play live stream, I think, wouldn't really hurt. I'm not sure about how much I like the entire sort of time-lapse theme to be broken in that episode, but I think it's a good compromise between getting a special episode in and also getting actually to do something in the park. Because as much as I want to do a special episode for episode 100, it is quite a milestone really. Fucking 100 episodes of Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 and I still haven't fucking stopped and people still are not interested anymore, so that's already a huge feat. But I don't want to get an episode in which I do nothing at all, in which I don't really do anything about the park. So I still want to do something useful in that, so I feel like a stream would work on that. Also a tiny bit of trivia over here, as I am placing these rocks, and you might notice that those are in-game rocks. And those are one of the few exceptions really. There is almost a bit of a taboo when it comes to using the in-game things. But there's a couple of things that I really just like. There is that, I'm not entirely sure what it's called, but there is one grassy looking shrub in the western theme that is a very good in-game foliage thing that I have actually seen people use quite often, and I've actually used in the past as well. But my favorite in-game piece is probably actually those rocks. Having those recolorable rocks with that very light texture, it just blends so perfectly with the Weber's large rocks that I just really had to use it and get a tiny bit more of the brown shade in there. But yeah, the video is synchronized, by the way. I just took way too long to really talk about that after it's already happened. I am at this point really doing the catwalks over there. By the way, I did get many questions about those catwalks. I was forced to do something unorthodox over there because wooden catwalks aren't the most common thing. So these catwalks are a combination of Big Burger's timber, which is just the Moby Steel Jungle equivalent of wooden supports. You can do wooden supports with it for coasters, but you can do practically anything with it really. Make buildings or make catwalks, whatever you really come up with. You can do many things with Big Burger's timber, so always like to kind of experiment with that. And the stairs over there are from Station Gym scaffolding. It's not my usual go-to sort of set for this thing, but I did realize that I had some really good fences and it had the diagonal pieces using which I could make that curve on top of this, which does look a tiny bit wonky, doesn't really match the curve of the log flume, but then again, that's something I also sort of like about it. Only real thing is that it's a tiny bit unrealistic in the sense that there is quite a gap in between the station and the platform. No, there's quite a gap in between the flume boats and the catwalks over there. But yeah, that's me. I think my looks are more important than the realism of this park. Plus, who's gonna have to evacuate people off of a log flume? There's a lift hill right behind that. Like, this isn't fucking Japan. We don't have to have sidewalks anywhere. I mean catwalks. But I see that I'm running out of time. There's one last thing that I wanted to say. Reeds are absolutely bae. If you have any sort of pond or even a small lake or anything, get some reeds in there, and make sure to mix them with other foliage, maybe the beach grass set, since the reeds on their own are just really thin, really narrow, and don't really work out too well on their own. But if you mix them well with other sets and make it look more like a real life sort of reed forest, they can really work very well. But yeah, that's that. Just a tiny bit of lily pad coverage over here, but in the end I did put more lily pads in there because this was just not even enough. You couldn't really see them well, but yeah, I'm definitely running out of time over here. So that's going to be the end of this video. I'll see you guys in the next video, and I am sorry that I've been talking way too fast this video. I'm not entirely sure how that happened. But yeah, in any case, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys later.